everybody. Today, this is our annual general meeting and a very special day as well because we do have other very exciting activities for the rest of the morning. It is our official AGM for 2024. It is the 26th of February. It is a few minutes just after 8 and I officially open up this AGM. I welcome you all, both that are in presence with us here at the Sandton Convention Center, and I also welcome those that are joining us virtually. It's an important event and a very key one as well because, you know, with AGMs, we get to account, we get to report, and we get to answer questions that you may have for us. We do not work for ourselves, we actually work for the industry, and we have partners. And it's important that we have such events. It also shows that we really observe good corporate governance, and it's something that we can be proud of. So please do indulge us. We're going to be here for scheduled for an hour, but let's make it useful. And please do indulge myself and the rest of the team. My name is Moresi Ramonyan. I am the chairperson of the Event Greening Forum, and in my company, I also have the rest of the management committee. But we'll talk about that as we go through the presentation. Let's just get through some of the admin. Can I please get confirmation of whether we have a quorum? Thank you very much. I can confirm for the record that we have a quorum. Do we have any apologies?
Just one apology from Expo, two apologies, one from Mass Academy and one from Expo, Caroline. And there are a number of people who said they're stuck in traffic, so I'm expecting people to arrive.
No problem. We do have a quorum, but we do expect that the room will fill up a little bit more, and maybe even the online viewers will also fill up a little bit more, but we are able to proceed with the business of the day. We also had distributed the minutes of the last AGM. We have considered them read. Can I please have a person rise on confirming that those minutes are an accurate reflection of our last AGM? Thank you very much, John. Can I have a second? Thank you very much, Karen. On that note, we will then proceed with the presentation, which is the chairperson's report, and we will then take questions at the end. Right, so that was our agenda. That is what we are going to be going through. You can anticipate that we will also then go through the various reports that are necessary as per an annual general meeting, and also take questions and answers later as said. Just a quick reminder, you know, that this is something that it's not myself only, but I actually work with a team. And in my team, I'm the chairperson of the AGM. My deputy and vice is John. And we've got our treasurer, who's Justin. We've got our secretariat, which is Lynn. And the rest of the members of the management committee are Neo, Mosatole, Gavin Burgess, Grace Stead, and JP Van Stalkbeck. And perhaps I should highlight that as much as these members of the management committee are also heading some of the subcommittees, they don't work alone, but have got co-opted members. You'll see as we go. Right, point ahead there. Grace Stead is our education and training chair of that subcommittee, a very important subcommittee that we felt needed to be fortified, and I think there's been much more progress in this particular year, because education and training is what's going to keep us nudging towards the behavior change when it comes to sustainability and greening. We've got a finance chairperson, which is Justin Force. We've got Neo Msatola, who's our marketing subcommittee chairperson, and membership is led by JP Stalbeck, who was a new chair on that, and I think you'll see that there's been great progress in that regard. I think it's time to also, and really worthwhile, to appreciate our associate members. These are our partners that we really hold quite dearly. They work with us, they walk the journey with us, and we really, I think in this particular year, you'll see later in the presentations that we've made a lot more progress there and strengthened those relationships. But we could not do this alone without working with our industry partners and associate members. The representatives for those organizations, actors represented by Anthea, EXA by Leanne Elder, Fadasa, we didn't have a representative, but they remain an associate member. We've got IFEA, which is Janet, Mass Academy by Helen Brewer, PCO Alliance by Ellen Gross. This is a very exciting one that joined most recent, our latest member. Saki, represented by Clinton, Sakia and TPSA by Kevin Jones, and SRO is by Bernard. This slide makes me really excited because with the advent of COVID, there was a huge purging everywhere. It was just not the EGF, but most industry associations really lost a lot of members for obvious reasons, economic reasons. Members just were not able to, keep up with the membership fees, but also there was just a big reprioritization and shifting of resources. So you saw that massive downturn. From 2019, we were sitting well above 70 and shot way down to under 40 in 2020. In 2021, we made some slight progress. 2022, a little bit more, but 2023, I insist and I always say so. I think 2023 is truly the year where we can say we've turned the corner truly after COVID. And I can only look for more and more progress and more success and more prosperity. But it's very encouraging that our membership numbers have grown so much and they continue to grow. It's obviously very affirming because it tells us that our members see value in what we're doing, but it also tells us that our members are doing well. Our members are able to allocate more resources towards actually this organization going. As you remember, membership is actually a lifeblood, and membership fees is a lifeblood. We depend quite strictly on that. Just to talk a little bit more, take it down memory lane a bit, some of the achievements, the key ones. Really in the last 12 years since the founding of the organization, there has been great progress and great success. The foundations were laid, and with the introduction of the Event Greening Forum, I think a very important stakeholder in the event space, particularly in the advent of climate change and the desperate need for climate action. This organization was quite critical too. And since then, there's been growth, lots of focus on a lot of activations around education, around producing those minimum standards, and just giving a lot of guidelines, guidance, and producing some thought leadership as well for the organization. We also developed quite an important tool, which is the Green Database, a beautiful tool that allows a person to have a single source of products and services for the events industry, in as far as sustainability is concerned. Because sometimes it's quite difficult to find a single resource. But also the Green Database serves a much bigger purpose in that those who advertise and list themselves, can also be found much more easily and grow their businesses in the process. And we did an interesting study. Actually, I was quite, I did a lot of the data gathering there, where, as you can see in the stand building industry, there's a lot of advancements and changes and whatnot. And one of the trends we were seeing was that there was a bit of a move, a little bit away from wood, but we needed to understand exactly how much of that is happening and what does that mean, and a move more towards fabric. And also interesting, innovative products like the Zanita board and so forth. We did that study, and that was quite interesting. Another contribution in terms of research for the industry. And of course, we then have a certification program. It's in its finance, but it's gone a long way, at least in having us establish some guidelines, some standards, and a little bit of a starting point if anybody really wants to get into event planning and understand what it really means. And of course, joining us and the PCO Alliance, which is quite a very significant stakeholder in the space. But what we really want to talk to about is actually the 2023 highlights. And in 2023, if you remember, we began the year on a bang. And as I start that, I want to acknowledge a very important and significant member in our audience, individual in our audience, Mr. Alexander Alice. And welcome, a very warm welcome. you'll be aware that we are having a seminar later on with Alex. But he is actually here and he's joined our AGM, which is wonderful because he has a very different experience around associations on a global scale. And yeah, it's nice to share and have you in our company. We're great company. But I say that because significant to 2023, we decided at the beginning of the year that we're actually going to partner with Net Carbon Events Initiative and Net Zero Events Carbon Initiative, and really chart a new program which is called Journey to Net Zero. And as you would be aware, there's a huge global commitment, and that is to actually reduce or move towards net zero by 2050. But of course, you don't wait to 2050, you start now and you make strides and strides. And 2030 being sort of the next key milestone, and the next one, of course, will proceed following that. But we had wonderful workshops. We hosted 2 workshops, the 20th of July, which was unpacking net zero carbon events. And this was an online webinar. We had Alex with us. And if you remember, that was a really, really, really important and really well attended webinar. And we really enjoyed that because it really just started us on a firm understanding of what net zero really means, why it's important, and why we're doing it. Following that, we had an interactive workshop. This was an in-person workshop where myself and Grace did actually then workshopped some of the technicalities around the net zero matters, and that was in Johannesburg. Very, very good. 2 events in 1 year. That was very great. And today you'll then experience the 3rd. So that was quite a huge highlight for us in 2023. And you can expect this journey to net zero to really carry on until we make it ultimately. This ties into then what our goal then with the net zero carbon events. That's the second one. It stands out as a highlight on its own because it's a flagship project, and we're going to just really champion that. And we've seen also that it's not only just for EGF and its members, but even those that are not members, they will find themselves coming to the AGM for information, for resources, for guidance. So there's a lot more that's going to be developing in that space. We then secured some patron sponsorships. This was in a bid to raise funds. We do rely on membership fees, but we had to be a little bit creative and think out of the box. And we allowed some of our members to actually come on board and sponsor us and get the badge of a patron sponsorship. And these were nice packages, and really, really, they were taken up. They were snapped up so quickly. I think we'll be challenged to probably extend, the offer in the coming year. And South African tourism, we're here. Thank you. We've got a partnership with South African tourism. South African tourism is really, really a significant stakeholder, and it's a partnership that we've really guarded quite jealously and have looked to maintain and retain. And as members, you would know, we had a really tough time trying to bed down a MOU with the SAT. But thank God, and thanks to a lot of people around this room and those that are not here that helped and put their resources together, pointed us in the right direction, gave us advice. Glad to know that you gave us a lot of your own experience. It's been quite a tough one, but I'm very happy to announce that on the 16th of February, just 2 weeks ago, the MOU was finally signed, and the AGF, thank you. The AGF is now a formal and official member until 2026. So next year we'll find ourselves hopefully not struggling as much. As I did mention, I think I've spoken at length about this initiative. We're very proud of it. When you see this badge, just know that it's us again, and it's a journey. It's not a destination. We are going to go at it until we get it right, and it's quite a lot. But we're going to walk together through this journey, and you can count on us. These are the patron sponsors. Perhaps worth mentioning them by name. It's RAP Zero, sustainability firm, charter in the event space, particularly green events. We've got event synthesis, heritage eco events, consulting as well, Basilman and Scan Display. So very proud, and I hope these patron sponsors carry on with us and walk the journey with us. But as I said, I personally will encourage team that we consider opening this up. So in terms of objectives then for 2024, and this is on the back of what was achieved in 2023. It's really just building up on what we've started. We want to revisit the funding strategy and broaden the partner base. And this is going to not only have a wider reach for the EGM, but also increase our financial bandwidth, let's call it. We want to continue increasing our membership numbers to pre-COVID figures. So a nice target to work towards, and of course, we'd like to exceed that as well. We want to increase awareness of the need for sustainability across the sector. We can never stop with this process. There's fresh blood all the time. New players coming into the industry. You never reach this, but you always have to keep improving on and working on that awareness creation. Also, there's a lot of developments in this space. There's a lot of more research and data that comes through. Sometimes what we thought was sustainable is not so sustainable. So it's a never-ending journey that's going to keep us busy. We want to review our education and training for members and the broader industry. Very, very critical. I think we can expect even more exciting progress in that space. I think there was good foundation laid in 2023. 2024 is probably going to see us make some better traction. To maintain a positive position in the market, absolutely. And I think EGM has a good image, I'd like to think. I think people understand what we do very quickly and very easily. I think members also realize value pretty easily. But to also strengthen the EGM's own internal corporate governance structures, I think we've done very well. I think you have to take organizations from where they are, and EGF has been obviously a relatively small, and it's growing consistently and continuously. And with that, you also start to see the maturity in its corporate governance structures and how it works. And I think 2023 we've made some good strides. We've got a firm structure. We've got more accountability, more reporting, and it's wonderful. I think 2024 is going to be super, super exciting. The database, I did talk about the green database, very, very critical resource. And just to give you some numbers, we do have 316 listings right now on it. And, in addition to advertising space, we're going to introduce a rating system where we will allow visitors to actually rate and give some feedback to those who are interested in coming and seeing the listings. That way, the database in itself doesn't just serve as a portal and as a listing, but actually it's an alive tool, and also it's trust building. We want to be also objective and have people who have had experience to give you, the user of the green database, some feedback that will tell you that this is what to be careful about, or this is really working very well, and this is what can inform our options. So really enriching that, and we've got a great team behind that on the IT side. Our website is obviously our face, and a very critical one. We don't have big glass offices anywhere. We work we operate a lean structure, and our website is really quite a big avenue channel for us. This is where we list our members, and it's quite important that our members also update. Please do go online and update your details, because you'll be amazed. Internationally and locally, a lot of traffic comes to our website to see what we're doing. But ideally, we'd like our members to just keep their details updated and refer to us also in your other online presence, so that we can drive the traffic back to us. We'd like to invite members to share stories. Our website is a beautiful resource. It's easy to use as well, and it's a lovely place to actually share stories around sustainability, what's working in your space, there's different, obviously, memberships, members from different walks of life and different sectors, and that provide different products and services. So do share your stories. Please, tag us and engage. Around marketing in 2023, we did host the 2 workshops, as mentioned. We focused on marketing to raise awareness of the green eventing, and we really worked hard to drive membership. We increased visibility to our members across all the digital channels. You'll see that we're quite active on social media, very, very consistently. Produced our monthly newsletters. We also contributed content to a lot of other publications. And we also welcome a new marketing manager on board, Ms. Natasha Heidberg. I think, yeah, welcome, you're all welcome. I think she's not a stranger to the industry. Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure working with her. The transition from Pippa to her has been effortless. Thank you for that. But to continue then on marketing in 2024, there'll be strategic partnerships and sponsorships that we'll be looking to continue in terms of exploring those opportunities for collaboration, and organizations that share, similar values with us will definitely be working more and more together. And the whole idea really is to just increase and amplify and leverage on the new networks. Content marketing initiatives. This is something that will keep Natasha busy quite actively, and we're pretty good at that. And I think it's because there's a lot of content also that we can offer. But this is strategies that we're going to be implementing around marketing and content development, particularly also because we have a lot of valuable content around education, training, and awareness. So you can expect to see that in 2024. Social media and community engagement will definitely have a lot more campaigns that are aimed at raising awareness and using our channels to reach all the different audience. Please do keep us up to date with any content and information that you might have. Workshops and webinars. This is really something that we do well, and you can expect to see more of that in 2024, but particularly also definitely anchored around net zero, however, also broader topics as well. And digital marketing optimization, we absolutely looking to enhance our website. We're looking to make a great improvement on our website. Some of the things that you don't necessarily see because it's so wonderful and so amazing, we actually know what some of the remnants, and we want to fix that and want to rationalize that and make the experience for yourself as a user on our website a lot more simple and easier. Media partners, we've got the Business Events Africa and meetings. Those are the two publications, and we have ongoing events. Ongoing partnership with them, and particularly Business Events Africa on content publications and meetings, which is Race Media, and yeah, we actually receive editorials in each, and this has been working quite well. You would have seen that we are always posting something, and our content is pretty fresh and different all the time. Social media, maybe just to give you some details, we've got growth in the following areas. In Facebook, we've had, we're sitting at about 1,080, and in slight decline there, Instagram, we've had an increase there. X, former Twitter, we saw a variation there of less than a percent downwards. LinkedIn, we've seen an increase, and YouTube has also seen something increase. Okay. And in terms of content coverage, we've had some interesting initiatives and campaigns. Meet the member, where we profile members and we let other members know that we actually like who's Morwesi or who's John. What does John do? What does John like? And just giving a face to some of our members outside of just being industry colleagues. We've had industry news, industry invites, associate member news that we share on platforms, website news, EGF news, and of course the journey to net zero news has been quite big. On our engagement metrics, the channels with the most engagement are Facebook and Instagram. So it seems Facebook is still quite a channel to be reckoned with, and Instagram as well. I guess it's still visually rich and also allows you that amount of text that you need to engage with serious topics like what we do, which is greening and sustainability. And the channels with the highest reach are, like I said, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. I'm happy to hear also and to present that LinkedIn is also on the rise, because that's really where we're seeing a lot of the professionals in the space coming together, and it's really serving a much bigger and targeted focus that we really need. What was exciting is that we created a WhatsApp group and during the 21st century, and and the WhatsApp group really we wanted to also take our time and do it right, you know, because a lot of people are bombarded with a lot of WhatsApp groups. But I think the EGF members WhatsApp group has been pretty successful, and the purpose of the group really was was strictly to focus on sustainability in the events industry. And we have a strict code of conduct, as we are aware. We emphasize on that respect and stability amongst the members. Privacy and confidentiality is respected. And the moderators do enforce the rules. But you would have seen there's quite a lot of discipline. There hasn't been much enforcement there. And we do encourage members to participate and engage. And I'd like to think that it's been quite useful. It's a good, easy, accessible channel to share, connect, and engage. And then on awareness raising, in 2024, we want to expand our mailing database organically. We want to contribute more directly to industry issues that constrain growth in the sustainability space. We want to host relevant and interesting events, we always do, and continue that work in the MICE industry. We want to increase awareness and the membership drive, expand our visibility, and we also want to implement that content marketing and SEO campaigns aimed at that awareness about our initiatives and just broadening that opportunity to our members. I'm going to ask my deputy, to just come and talk to you briefly about one of the things that we drove quite intensively in 2023, and that is the matter of broadening our reach and interaction with our industry associations. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Mwesi. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Event Greening Forum AGM. Thank you all for getting out of your beds really early this morning, and some of you braving the traffic into Sansom this morning. I know it's not always the most pleasant thing, but I'll give you a word of advice. There's some beautiful hotels just across the road here. Maybe for next year you can enjoy that word of advice there. And it's also very greeny because you can walk here. Thanks very much, Mwesi. Yes, so I would like to just obviously, sorry, I work on a Mac normally, so I'm not too sure. There we go. Just wanted to highlight some of the projects, as Mwesi said, that we've been driving quite extensively, and one of the projects that I was tasked with in my capacity as the Vice or Deputy Chair was to build the bridges between our partners and fellow industry associations, just to make sure that we secure those relationships and help to work together with them in order to make sure that they get the benefit out of being partners with the Event Greening Forum, and obviously making sure that we also get the benefit from working with them in the industry. So in 2023, we signed an agreement with the PCO Alliance, the Professional Conference Organizers Alliance, and that really was a very important milestone in our relationships, because they represent some of the top PCOs in Ellen. We're going back to last week, right? Should know what I'm talking about in terms of sound quality. So the PCO Alliance, as I said, it has an extensive listing of professional conference organizers, and obviously the being the biggest contributor to some of the carbon outputs. It's important that they begin to understand the necessity to change. Technology, when it works, it's wonderful, but when it doesn't work, it's rather interesting. Yeah. Sit in your chair, Ellen, you can't move. So Ellen here, by the way, is the chairperson of the PCO Alliance. The PCO Alliance, as I was saying, very important stakeholder and a very good partnership. So that we managed to achieve in 2023. Then also in 2023, very important, was the signing of our partnership agreement with EXA, and Leanne is here this morning to represent EXA, dressed in green. Thank you very much for the support, Leanne. Favorite color, good. We've already seen great benefits out of our partnership with EXA. We've worked with them on the 2024 Excellence Awards, and the Event Greening Forum was privileged to present the Best Green Event Award for the first time and the Best Green Stand Award for the very first time as part of the EXA Excellence Awards. So that was a really great achievement, and we look forward to many more opportunities going forward on that side of things. And then also we were invited to participate in a number of EXA Connect workshops. So EXA runs these Connect workshops on a monthly basis. And we were able to participate quite extensively in those, obviously around the topic of sustainability and event greening. And then there was one more. Oh yes, at the EXA conference this year also, we were given the platform again to represent the Event Greening Forum to the EXA members. So we really welcome that partnership, Leanne, and we thank you very much for partnering with us, and we look forward to growing it even more in 2024. Thank you. And then a really big achievement, and that also happened just recently, is our signing of agreement with SARC, the Southern African Association of the Conference Industry. Mr. Glenton de Kock, the chairperson, sorry, the Chief Executive Officer of SARC is here with us this morning. And thank you very much, Glenton, for the opportunity to work with SARC and strengthen our, we've had a working relationship over the years, but I think this one is important that we've now made a commitment to, again, like our relationship with the PC Alliance and EXA, to work together and build on that and strengthen our relationship. So we look forward to that in 2024. Glenton will be releasing an official press release here during Meetings Africa on the signing of the agreement and partnership. So for those of you in the media present today, please look out to receive a copy of the official press announcement announcing this agreement. So yeah, that basically is from my side in terms of the work that I was pretty much tasked with. And going forward into 2024, whoever is elected as the new vice chairperson, maybe, well not maybe, I hope that we continue this relationship going forward. I certainly will work towards ensuring that that happens.
Thank you. Thank you. You must start. Thank you. Please bear with us. These things happen, but we always roll with the punches. So next will be the finance report, and will be led by the chairperson of the subcommittee, which is Mr. Justin Moss. Please can you come forward? Thank you.
Thanks, Mawesi. I think just before I start the finance report, just to mention, I was looking at the growth of our membership and how it's grown since COVID. As you know, COVID is a decimating event for our industry, and it's taken time to come back, but it's really great to see our growth. And I just want to thank you, Mawesi, because you took over the baton during the COVID process. Obviously, Greg was there when the things were really hitting the fan. But about the growth, we really thank you for leading us out of the pandemic. And if you think when you took over in 2022, we all still were wearing masks, and the masks only came off in August that year. But thank you very much for what you did. You know, really, it was as an association, it was amazing how we survived. But thank you for the growth trajectory, taking the baton and running going forward. So, big round of applause for you. Okay, my name is Justin Hawes. I'm the treasurer of EGF. I'm also a chartered accountant, so I have landed up as treasurer in many organizations over a long period of time. So I think we hope to be in good hands as a good accountant. I hope so. So just to go through the finance report. Okay, so that's our trading income. Membership fees, 2023, 109,000. 2022, 18,000, and 21, 35,000. So that just shows you how decimating the COVID was and the comeback. So it's amazing to see that we've 5 times the income in 23 from 22. And I did mention to your leadership, obviously, and I know we're also a team, but we needed a leader to take us, because, you know, we managed during COVID, but we had to obviously grow as an organisation afterwards. And then our expenses, our major expenses, advertising and marketing, our stipends payable to Lynn. Lynn, thanks for the amazing job you do, and thank you for compromising on your fee, because you really do so much for just a small amount of money, and we really thank you for that. So, round of applause to Lynn. And I know you nag us and chase us and all that, but we appreciate it. We really do. Version 52, version 53, and all that. Yeah, another head. Yeah, thank you, Lynn. So the advertising and marketing, 50,000 stipends and various other expenses, subscriptions, but overall 103,000. I'm pleased to advise that we still made a profit in 2023. Obviously, we had big losses in 21, 57, 22, 28, and it was a very difficult time, but I know you there, Greg, thanks for holding the ship through that very difficult time to actually make sure we didn't go out of business. And it's very interesting. We've got Alexander Ellis with us, who's head of the, thanks Alex, thanks for coming. And Alex is head of the GMIC, the Global Meetings Industry Council, which is our umbrella body throughout the world. It's an amazing, very important federation. And he was just saying how many organizations went out of business during COVID, how many associations, but we keep going. So, really amazing that we kept going, and thanks for that leadership. So now we're sitting in 2023 where we made a profit, which is fantastic. And we need money obviously to do the activities we want to do. There's our balance sheet. Bank, we've got 73,000, debt is 65. Because this is at December 2023, the debt is high because we actually invoice in December. So those who are accountants, debits, debtors, credits, I'm always teaching my kids provision. Pre-invoicing just means you raise an asset on the one side on the debtors of 65, and then you've got your provision for pre-invoicing at the bottom, 87. So that's why the debtors is high, because it's done at that time of the year. And then our retained income, 34,000. I'd love to see that growing, but for the carried forward, and now we're 40,000 solvent. That's the balance sheet. I think just one comment before I get changes in the constitution is we really need to redo our website. So I do envisage, and we've got to work out some kind of funding model on that. But we're going to have a lot of marketing expenses and website expenses. We've obviously lived with our current website. We had COVID. We have after that trying to grow that. But I really think we need to do it. And our green database also needs to connect in a better way and be useful. So we really need to spend a lot as an organization in that, but I'm sure we can work out some funding models. So this last year, our patron sponsors have been a great funding model for us. And I see Angelique here. I know you're sponsoring today's Alex's talk, and Greg, you're also sponsoring Alex's talk today. And it's really great that we've got all these patron members on board, and we're going to have to look at some other funding models. In terms of the constitution, what happened was we had a whole lot of changes which we made to our constitution in 2020. But you all know Meetings Africa 2020 was here, and then a month later we're all sitting at home wondering what's happened to the world. So we made the changes, but we never put them into the constitution doc. So they were approved. So I'm just saying that those proposed changes are associate members, that I'm not going to go through them. They've already been approved, but just to say they are going to be put into the constitution. We just never got around to it in 2020. Then only while we were reviewing now, because obviously the pandemic, it was a major thing, we're going to be putting those into the constitution. There is, however, so that's the ordinary members, companies, closed corporation, partnerships, joint ventures. Ordinary members will pay normal fees. Group member benefit. A group member is somebody that is part of a group company. So if there's a subsidiary part of a group company, they can pay a discounted fee, 50%. But we do have another category which we want to introduce. It's called a related party benefit. Now, a related party benefit, and we've obviously sent this out to our members, but we need to vote on it, is something where there's a common interest of a shareholder of greater than 25%. So if I own 25%, I'm a member of EGF, let's say, and I'll give a real example. We've got a company up called Scan Display Africa, but we only own 50% of it. Another 50% is owned by Alistair Stead. That can become a member because we've got a common shareholding greater than 25%. So, and that fee would be then at 50%. So it's just a way to expand our membership for related parties. In the past, that company would have to pay 100% membership fee. So a related party benefit ordinary members who have an interest, be it via shareholding partner or trustee or joint ownership in a second business, and where such interest constitute 25% or more. Secondary interest will be referred to as a related party, and by virtue of the secondary interest, the entity which the related party is a secondary interest may become an ordinary member at 50% reduced fee to access the EGF benefits. So that's how that clause works. I think I'll just finish this off, and I'll go back. Go back a slide.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's just that clause, and we'll talk about it just now. And then all these other clauses, educational members, students, all that has all been voted on in 2020. It's just to put it into the constitution. And then non-profit members. So there's also not a category for non-profit members. So what we need to vote on in terms of our constitution, we have to have a notice period for that. We just want to vote on this clause. And then I can't remember what is we've told everybody about the clause, and now we've got how many, I don't know what.
28 days. So
28 days we've done, and then the number of, everybody's got to vote on it. So. Accepted, okay. So those against this related party ordinary membership, anybody voting against it? Okay. Those voting for the related party ordinary benefit, please raise your hand. Okay, so thank you very much. It's been approved. We look forward to growing our membership through the related party benefit. Those are the other changes of the constitution. The other items, appointment of auditors. We're very lucky to have our auditors that do us a pro bono, they do it for free. And our accounts are annually audited, and this will obviously be done in the next 2 months and sent out. So I just want to get a vote on appointing our auditors, G. Cambanis and Incorporated. Please raise your hand if you. Okay. Fantastic. I think we've got a majority there. Anybody against? How can you be against when they do it for free? No. Okay. Okay. Over to you, Mawesi. Is that right?
Yeah. Right. Thank you very much. I think maybe just to conclude the chairperson's report before we get into another big part of today's process, which is electing the new management committee. It is, of course, the end of this particular term. So everyone who served in the management committee will have to reavail themselves into the next one. But also it means, as chairperson, I'm also officially going to be standing down. And then depending on how the election goes, we'll see how that goes. But I want to thank you all very, very much from the bottom of my heart. I think when I came onto the EGF, this is a strong membership that is really from the core of the events industry and all that. And here I was coming more from this sustainability consulting and other side of things with a strong background in renewable energy. But I was embraced and welcomed quite strongly. And it really was just such a hearty and warm welcome. I've enjoyed working with everybody. I've enjoyed forming relationships with everybody. It's been quite interesting. Thank you for trusting me. And thank you for adjusting to my style of work and my style of leadership, which sometimes probably gives grey hairs to a few people. Lynn, I'm not looking at you. But I just want to thank you so much for your generosity. And I just want to give you a warm thank you from the bottom of my heart. And on that note, I'd like us to move to the other order of the day, which is the election of the management committee. Then I'm going to ask you to stand with me here as our secretariat. So the elected management committee, as I highlighted, are those individuals. I won't go through it again. Pretty aware of them, and we did have 2 vacancies. And the current management committee are those. That's myself, Justin Lynn, Neo, and JP, and associate members, which is 9. We've got some nominations because not everybody stands down at the same time. Some terms overlap and whatnot. But nominations for the committee in 2024 would be for John. Do we need to go through who nominated him? No, it's not necessary, right? John was nominated, so these have all been verified, so you can trust us. John has been nominated and he's from Charter Experience. Angelique Smith from Event Synthesis. Sonia Van Rooyen from Specialized Exhibitions, Grace Stage from Steadfast Screening, Gavin Burgess from Technology Partners, and Emma Pomado, who comes in as an individual. Maybe I can ask it this way: is there anyone who's violently opposed to any of these members being nominated? Shall we consider them members of the management committee? Can I have a mover? Yeah.
Mistake. Sorry, Joey. Joey's been nominated.
Oh yeah. Oh, hi Joey. Thank God.
It's my mistake.
Okay. No problem. These things happen. So Joey from, let's just for the record.
Joey Swan, Technology Management.
Wonderful. I hope that you've captured that. So, but Joey as well. So with Joey on the list, is anyone violently opposed to these members being nominated and forming part of the management committee? All right. Can I have a mover and a seconder? We have a mover, we have a seconder. Congratulations. All right. And yeah, it's on that basis then that I think I must highlight something. Yeah, I must highlight something. We do a lot of work, you know, of course, it's a labor of love. You know, associations need us. It's an important part of the ecosystem because it's a significant and important body of knowledge, but it takes experience, expertise, and very you know, committed people to make it work, and all of us do it for that reason. So it's a volunteer type of setup, of course, but we want to expand on our management committee, and it's for that reason that we are actually welcoming everybody on board, because we need all hands on deck. And also people go through, you know, ups and downs. You know I've had a pretty tough time personally in the last 2 years. So it's really for that reason that we are not you know, necessarily going for an elimination, but actually welcoming everybody on board, because everybody has something to offer. So I want to thank everybody who's been nominated and are making themselves available. We also then, before we close, we have an important process that we need to undertake. Justin, please can you join me to the front? And you know, we make friends along the way, and we actually stay friends for life. But we all go through you know, different journeys and our separate ways at times. We go and evolve in different spaces. And for that, I'm going to ask Justin to lead us on that. You won't hear again from me in as far as this part of the meeting, the AGM. So thank you very much from my end. Yeah.
The next management committee meeting is going to be on the 4th of March.
Right.
Send out the notifications next week. We're going to elect the.
Yes.
Can we maybe discuss that date?
Update will be proposed. So far, the 4th might be flying around, but please be available. Those who have been nominated, expect that invitation. And on that day, we're actually going to then elect office bearers into office. For now, you're all part of the top table. Cheers.
Thanks, Mwesi. You're right. This is actually a sad and a happy moment. And I'm just winding back to 2009. So now 2009 is a long time ago. It was before our World Cup. It was before our trade. It was before a lot of things that happened in South Africa. So I felt very passionate about doing something in the greening industry. I teamed up with Grace and we started getting momentum. And at the time, I had our marketing manager, Pippa Walker. She's not called Pippa Walker anymore. She got married, had children and all that. Was our marketing manager at Scan. And it was really great that Pip was also a greenie, very passionate about sustainability. And that's the kind of thing, I never mentioned it in the job interview, but it was just a bonus that that it turned out that way. And then it took another 2 years from 2009 to 2011 to get our organization going. So we started out as a federation first without members, and then in 2013 we then started getting members. So we were a mixed organization, federation and direct members. But Pippa, you've been there for a lot of the way, and like I said, you're Pippa Walker, and you got married and your children, and it's amazing the journey that we've had. And you've been an amazing help to EGF over many years. I also thank you for not charging us too much. I got to thank Lynn. Whenever I see your bill, I thought, gee, this is really cheap because you're doing so much. So much, great value. Thank you. And thank you for including us in all the magazines and the coverage we got. It was really great that Pip was also in the media section as well. So it also helped us in terms of the coverage we got. So Pippa, we're going to miss you. Pippa's immigrating to eventually, I think, to the USA. I think they're going via South America first. But Pippa, we really thank you for more than a decade of almost 15 years or 16 years of work towards event greening, and the passion and the hours you put in, and really a very special moment for me. Sad because you've been such a part of it, but that's life, and we will need to move on to different things. But we just thank you for all your energy and effort at EGF and passion, and also from Lynn as well. I know you've been a massive pillar to Lynn as well in the work she's done in our organisation. Thank you, Pippa. I've got something for you. Yeah, thank you, Pippa. Hey? You want to open it? You want to open it? Let me take a photo. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Big bag. Hey? There, come here, photo. I'm going to miss you, but Lynn's going to miss you more.
I couldn't write a farewell note on the WhatsApp group because what I wanted to say to her was not going to be well received. Now that's a cooler bag.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So when you go and picnic with your kids, you can use it.
It's lovely stretch to remind you of home.
Yeah, and I love
Yeah.
it. And look,
Handmade at Victoria Yards.
Certainly Justin won't think of something so smart.
Thanks, John. So this ends our official AGM. And it's always great, EGF, it always is 1 hour, and we stick to that. It's fantastic. We do have our next session starting at, is it 9:20?
Yes.
9:15. Okay, 9:15. We've got our next session, Alexander Ellis, and we've got it in person because we've had him remotely, and we've had a lot of meetings. And really great to have you, Alex. So Alex is going to be talking on the net zero carbon initiative worldwide. He's the leader on it throughout the world. So it's just amazing that we have him here. And I said to my staff when I saw him, this is the VVVIP, and he said, no, I'm not VVVIP. I'm just really passionate about what I do. So really great to have you, and that will be commencing in 20 minutes. And thank you very much to all our patron members. Thanks for being here in person. Really great. And those of you who are exhibiting at Meetings Africa involved, a lot of you have a great show and a great event. And please stay for Alexander's presentation in 15 minutes. Thank you. There's coffee and snacks at the back. Just grab something and we'll start in 15 minutes. Thank you. Yes, Lynn, sorry.
After Alex's presentation, we're going to have a little networking.
Okay, so after Alex's presentation, we'll have a networking. And Alex's presentation is brought to you by Heritage Eco Events, Greg McManus, and Angelique Smith from Event Synthesis has also has sponsored that event. So a big round of applause to them. Thank you. Thanks. We do need the mic, eh? You have to for this.
It's very relaxed today. And we get into the more fun part of the day. So please grab your snacks, relax, and enjoy yourself. Just checking that everyone we're expecting is here.
I'm so sorry.
Yes, please fill up and top up those cups. And let's get ready. Still on.
The editor of Business Sense Africa. Yes, yeah. So 25%. Actually, 33%. We want to do another big project. Yes, yes, I remember. They want to do another one. But it's such a favorite project. I wanted to start it.
Right. I'll just give it one last minute for everyone to settle down and we can get the show on the road. And just an acknowledgement on those that are joining us online. We do recognize you, so thank you for being there and thank you for holding on. You are very important to us as well. As you all know, hybrid events sort of took, actually virtual events, I guess, started during COVID because of the inability to meet physically. And it's one of the legacies of COVID that we now almost as a standard, particularly the EGF, have hybrid meetings. But hybrid meetings are also great for sustainability, if you really think about it, because less flights, less accommodation, less food waste, and a whole lot of other, emissions that are avoided. But also they can deliver just as much impact in as far as the quality of engagement. But at no point would I ever say they trump physical. It's always nice to just have that face to face. It's always good to be able to look each other in the eye and engage and connect more meaningfully.
Yeah.
And it's for that reason that we can be even more grateful that we have Alex here and we have him in the flesh. So I think I'm going to officially open our seminar. For those that are joining us that were not here earlier, my name is Maurice Ramunyai. I am the what am I now? Outgoing chairperson of the event. I'm just a member of the management committee. Yeah. Yes, I'm the outgoing chairperson of the event greening forum. I'm already in the future. And I just want to wish you all a warm welcome. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking your time to be here with us. It's an important event, and we absolutely love hosting you for our events, because we find pleasure in planning them and really take joy in seeing our members and non-members also enjoy them. Today is particularly unique and special. As you would know, from 2023, we began as the EGF, what we call the Journey to Net Zero. And the whole point is that we want to just be, particularly from a South African industry perspective, at least be that place, the reference point for everyone to come to when it comes to understanding what net zero really means, particularly in the events industry. But of course, there's also a very important global initiative which is called Net Zero Carbon Events. And that is something that we are participants in, have invited other people to come and join us as well on that. But it's a huge global campaign. It's a form of activism, really climate activism, if you want to call it. And we want to see us, all of us, reaching net zero because it counts and it matters. Leading this particular initiative globally is Mr. Alex, and he's here in person with us. He has hosted and participated with us the first webinar that we had last year, and the workshop we did, and he gave us some input and direction. But what a pleasure. Thank you to South African Tourism also for really partnering here and bringing him to South Africa. It's timely. Everybody's talking net zero. If you don't know net zero, get up to speed with it. But you're in good company today because he's going to unpack it beautifully for us. We had dinner last night because we wonderful hosts as well when we're not doing sustainability, and it was really quite nice just to know him a little bit more interestingly and more intimately. And I can tell you, Alex is an interesting person. He's a real global citizen. Not only is he's German, but he's born in Russia. So during the networking, you can maybe understand that a little bit more. But he spent time in Asia, he's lived in the US and the UK. I think there's probably no continent that he hasn't been on. And his travel schedule is amazing. And but he's really just a rich resource of good experience, and particularly around associations as well, which he's been part of for quite a considerable time. But he just has a very fresh perspective on the world, and obviously sees this whole initiative from a very different perspective. He understands where this is going, what the total objective is, but most importantly, he's particularly here in Johannesburg, South Africa, to tell us a little bit more about this. And we've called this event particularly Taking the Charge because we've done the intro, we've done the workshop. Now we really want to get in the driver's seat and see it going. Can I ask you to please help me welcome Mr. Alex?
Thank you so much, Marvezi. And thank you so much for welcoming me here to South Africa. What a pleasure. It's my second time to be here in person in South Africa. The first time was in Cape Town, and now I am in the beautiful Johannesburg. Thank you also for hosting me yesterday. It was a memorable experience, and I will surely keep it close to my heart for a very long time. I have the pleasure to talk to you about the Net Zero Carbon Events Initiative, and I am actually the Executive Director of JMIC, the Joint Meetings Industry Council, and the Joint Meetings Industry Council is hosting the Net Zero Carbon Events Initiative on behalf of our industry. I know that last year we already had a workshop about this initiative, and I hope it's not boring for you if I repeat a little bit of the key messages in terms of where the initiative started, what we have produced so far, and where we're going in the future. So also maybe one thing I want to mention, the first part of my conversation will be indeed a monologue, but we wanted to make it as interactive as possible. So if you have any questions, we would like to engage all of you in order to have a proper conversation and exchange afterwards. In terms of background, it's the whole initiative actually started with a walk in the park, if you want. I guess you're all familiar with the COP, the annual COP conferences, and the organizer of the COP is UNFCCC, which is the United Nations Framework Convention for Climate Change. And before they started organizing the COP26, I believe back then, in Glasgow, the organizer committee of UNFCCC approached the venue, the Scottish Events Campus, and asked them, but what is it that the meetings and events industry doing actually in terms of addressing climate change? And the answer was nothing, because there was nobody who represents our industry on the global level in terms of uniting our industry and addressing the topic of sustainability, which is why Kathleen Warden from the Scottish Events Campus approached a couple of associations, the global associations, involved in meetings and events such as ICA, AIPC, and UFI, and ask them, guys, what is it? How can we unite, and what can we do? Kai Hattendorf, who is the CEO of UFI, he used to be based in Bonn back then, Germany, called up UNFCCC because it just happens to be that UNFCCC is based in Germany as well, in Bonn. Back then it was COVID, as you can imagine, so they've met in the park for a walk in the park in order to discuss how we can get started. And this was actually, this walk in the park was the main idea, to create Net Zero Carbon Events Initiative. Back then, JMIC didn't exist as an association, as an incorporated association. It was just a club, which is why UFI was the one to drive the initiative first on behalf of the industry, and then when JMIC was incorporated, we got the pleasure to drive this initiative on behalf of the industry. So that's why we always say we're hosting it, because we're not owning it. It's really for the good of the entire industry. And the main idea was indeed that, of course, the meetings and events industry has a carbon footprint, quite large one, and we would like to address it. And we would like to be not only, of course, not part of the problem, but part of the solution, especially. So this is why UNFCCC helped us in order to create this initiative. And we of course, launched the pledge at COP26 in Glasgow back then. And I will talk a little bit more about the pledge later on. It was also decided that this initiative will be open to all stakeholders of the events industry at all stages, regardless whether you are just in the beginning of your sustainability journey or already pretty much advanced. And it was also decided that this initiative should focus on carbon, because carbon is, of course, the main driver for climate change, and we would like to tackle especially this problem. So it's really all about decarbonization for Net Zero Carbon Events Initiative. Before I go more into detail, maybe just 2 slides for main definitions and the general problems, because speaking with quite a lot of stakeholders, we understand that there is still some confusion about the differentiation between carbon neutral and net zero. This is why I have this slide. They are, of course, all quite similar, and a lot of stakeholders use these words without understanding what it actually is. That's why we try to define it for everyone. It's actually indeed in both cases that the companies are striving to minimize their carbon footprint, but carbon neutral involves more or less carbon offsetting, so you are not really trying to minimize your carbon footprint. It's you go as you used to, perhaps, and then you just buy offsets, and then you can claim I'm carbon neutral. Whereas net zero is really about minimizing the carbon footprint and reducing and refusing what you are engaging with. So this is the main difference, and we of course would like to go net zero as far as possible and as fast as possible. And greenwashing, of course, we all know that nowadays sustainability is on minds of everyone, and everyone is claiming that they are doing so much for sustainability. Just recently, I bought a box of chocolate in Belgium. Belgium is famous for chocolates, and the main argument on this box was, we produce sustainable chocolate. You know, I mean, it was not like even taste chocolate or anything. It was just sustainable chocolate. So it's really sustainability. Wherever you go, there is sustainability. But here we need to really be careful because greenwashing is a topic, and it's really an attempt to make it seem that you do more than it actually is. And the questions you need to ask in order to understand is the targets, are they actually realistic? And one of the most important one is, of course, is there an element of reporting to the progress of sustainability? And what about the communication? Is that transparent? And if there are any labels, are they perhaps misleading, and so on? So these are the questions you can ask yourselves in order to really get the first feeling for whether it might be greenwashing or not. Now, back to the initiative and signatories and supporters. I've mentioned that, of course, this initiative is quite a large one by now. We have different levels of entry, if you will. So this is on the one hand side, you can become a signatory. On the other side, you can become supporter. The supporter is actually quite easy. So you can sign up as a supporter, and this means that you keep up with what the initiative is about, what we're doing, and then communicate within your own networks that you're part of it. Hopefully, enlarge the whole framework of what we're doing. When it comes to signatories, it's a little bit more rigid, if you will. So here you do have some commitments. And all these commitments are more or less in line with the Paris Agreement. So if you sign the pledge, it means that you would like to become net zero by 2050 and halve your emissions by 2030. And if you want to halve it, of course, you first need to understand, but where am I at? So you need to measure it. This is a quite a difficult task to do, but I think Marwezi can help you with this. Then of course you need to report on the progress you are making at least every 2 years. So you're very welcome to report every year, but we said at least every 2 years, which is quite realistic for especially small and medium-sized companies which are part of the initiative. Now, in terms of signatories and supporters, we have of course a question here: what are signatories and what are supporters? Typically, signatories are those who organize their own events, because this is a net zero carbon events initiative. So we want to measure our event footprint. So it's event organizers, it's venues, it's service providers, for example, stand builders, it's might be destinations, associations, and so on, because they are really organize their own events, kind of, or involved in the organization of events. And supporters are typically consulting companies, media companies, and some associations, if they, for example, don't want to measure their own event, but maybe just to be associated with the Net Zero Carbon Events Initiative. As of last week, we have 669 organizations from 60 countries who are registered with the Net Zero Carbon Events Initiative. And we're really, really happy and honored to have this partnership with Event Greening Forum, because you guys help a lot to communicate about this initiative here in South Africa. If you take the numbers, South Africa is by far the biggest country in terms of supporters and signatories on the African continent. We of course would like to grow it. We need everyone to be on board, but that's a start, and we hope to enlarge it even further. So if we take a look at the phases, what we've done is we've developed the theoretical knowledge, and it was the pledge which was released at COP26 in Glasgow. After this pledge was released, we have the whole industry come together. There were, I think, more than 150 stakeholders from all over the world who came together and started to develop the roadmap for the events industry. So this exercise was a very intensive one, and I think you're all involved in events, and you probably understand how difficult our industry can be and how fragmented it is. So it was really quite a challenge to develop this roadmap, because first you had to identify what are the areas we need to focus on, and what are actually the scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3 emissions for different stakeholders within our industry. And this is what the roadmap is actually about. We have it online, we have it the whole report and the executive summary, and it's open for everyone. So if you don't know it, you're welcome to check it out. And this roadmap was released at the COP27 in Sharm el Sheikh in 2022. So when we released this roadmap, we started we launched our 8 work streams, and these work streams were about bringing this roadmap to life, basically. And this is something which we're really proud of. 5 of them focused on the priority action areas which were defined in the roadmap. So this is basically the core of our events industry. We have the venues, we have logistics, we have production and waste, we have travel and accommodation, and we have also food and food waste. So these were really the areas where we said that we need to tackle the problems, especially there. Travel and accommodation is, of course, a very difficult part for us as an industry. It's scope 3 emissions, so we're not directly responsible for it. But nonetheless, we do generate quite a lot of travel into our events. And that's why we also need to be in touch with the travel and accommodation industry in order to see how we can support them on their decarbonization journey as well. So these work streams, they have been producing reports, guidance documents on their specific areas, and they have been released last December. We held a press conference in London about this, and all these documents are now online as well. I will have a QR code later on for resources, so you can check them out. And we basically closed the first major phase for net zero carbon events, which is the development of the theoretical knowledge. And quite a lot of it is really abstract and maybe not easy to understand. But unfortunately, it had to be done first because we had to have this foundation, if you will. So now we have this foundation, and we basically start a new phase, the phase of implementation. And this is going to be more about projects. It's going to be really about hands-on activities, how we can address this topic within our industry on a daily basis in our daily operations. So this is the overview of the work streams, as I mentioned. All these work streams have been led by different, mainly associations. The venue energy was led by AIPC, which is a global association for venues. Food and food waste was the only one which was led by a private company, Jaarbeurs, based in the Netherlands. They're a venue and an organizer as well. Then logistics, the logistics work stream was led by AELA, which is an international association for logistics within our industry. Smart production and waste management was led by IFES, and IFES is of course very well known. great association, and we're happy to have Justin here also, who is part of IFES, and they have done really a fantastic job as well. One of the most active work streams we had, and I know as a matter of fact that they have already quite a few projects in the pipeline which will be implemented, of course under net zero carbon events umbrella, but it will be IFES who will be running them. And travel and accommodation, which was led by ICA, and I think ICA, you know it as well, the Convention and Congress Center Association. So they are actually here today as well, Central. So if you haven't met them, it's also a great opportunity to do so. So these 5 work streams, as I mentioned, they have been focusing really on the action areas which were firstly defined in the roadmap. But in order to ensure that they're kind of not getting lost, we had to introduce also some work streams which are more transversal and steer them all into the right direction. Measurement is of course the biggest and the most important part of our work, because well, I will come to this a bit later, but measurement is something we all struggled with, and I think we still do, because it's just frankly so difficult. We have quite a few calculators and different tools out there. So some of them free of charge, some of them are charged for, some of them are open source. The others are rather closed, and it's really you take one tool. And then you take the second and the third and insert the same data into all these tools, and then you will get 3 different answers. So this is really something like a no-go situation, and that's what we really try to do here. We succeeded partly. We have the methodology ready. But what we still miss is really to introduce coefficients which are really solid for our industry, because the data is a huge problem. The industry doesn't want to share too much of data. We had a call for action, call for data last year already in the very beginning. First within this work stream, then within the initiative, and then we enlarged it in the whole industry so that everyone could participate. We did get some data, and still it's rather difficult for us to really build coefficients which are representative, which really could be solid, and that's why we are hopeful that now with the reporting, which we started last year as well, we will get more solid information, so that we can update the measurement methodology and have it more solid. Also, not only the methodology itself is global, but the plan is maybe to have it more regionalized as well. So that would be a topic for us to work on as well. And another work stream which we had was, of course, the carbon offsetting. I've mentioned it already. It's really controversial, the carbon offsetting, because I mean, honestly speaking, I had to lead it from JMeek, but I really don't like it too much, because it's not a transparent one. We really tried to see how we can do it, and what we agreed upon was simply let's do it like this, that we don't give any specific recommendations in terms of projects, because otherwise it's simply a huge risk. If you tell that this particular project is good, in 5 years it might not be good anymore, you know. So that's why we focused on different stuff, and yeah, I will tell you a little bit more as well. So all these work streams, as I said, produced output documents, and these output documents are now online. And these are guidance, hopefully also useful guidance for you in terms of how you can engage in a more sustainable way. So the venue energy work stream did the first guidance document, and they have recommendations for venues on how to get their sustainability journey started. There was a reporting template created which compiles energy data from venues. Even they had rather difficulties to get data from venues, which is quite surprising. But if you are an organizer, you might know that the venues don't like to share too much. So this is a bit of an issue indeed. But I think we are all in this boat together, and this is something which this initiative would hopefully create that we need this information exchange, and we need to understand what the consumption is. So they focused on different types of guidance, including even how to run a sustainable IT system within your venue. And getting best practices for venues, you know, obviously switch to LED lighting, but also installing sensors in order to create movements. There was one example that a venue had a parking downstairs, and the parking had the lights on all the time. So they have been installing sensor movements and reduced their not only carbon footprint, but of course also their energy consumption and their energy bill. And this is something what we've been discussing yesterday as well. That investing in sustainability doesn't really mean that you have costs. We really consider this as an investment in order to first of all do good to your planet, but then you have cost-effective measures in the long run. So this is something we all need to keep in mind when we speak about sustainability. But nonetheless, the venue energy workstream, the team is still existent, and they will be doing some other stuff and updating these documents as well. Then the smart production and waste management. This is, as I mentioned, the workstream which was led by IFES. They have been focusing on three main parts, and this is on the one hand side giving best practices on smart production, best practices on waste management, and then the materials library. So it's really a multitude of different best practices which they have, and I'm not sure if you guys have read it or not. If not, again, it's online and you're welcome to download it. On the smart production, they have been focusing on the 4 R's, which is reduce, reuse, recycle, and refuse. So easy to remember, and this is all basically to really help you how to get your decarbonization journey started. And for the waste management, they have the 6 key principles that they have identified. And they include you can only manage what you can measure, and this is actually true for everything what we do. The importance of understanding the waste journey, the waste hierarchy as such, target setting, action plan, and compliance and duty of care. So these were the 6 principles on the waste management. They've also created terminology glossary, which is quite a comprehensive one, because again, when we're talking about sustainability, there are just so many different words and buzzwords, and nobody actually knows what they stand for. So this is also something quite practical. And another one is the materials library. So this is just the start. It's really a great piece of information which will be hopefully become a go-to document, as I always say, within our industry. So it's basically an overview of different materials which are typically used within stand building, and then you have the correspondent information of emissions for these materials. So really a great job. Then we have the logistics, which has also produced their guidance documents, and they are focusing on on 4 different areas as well. It's sustainable logistics, remote and last mile logistics, on-site logistics, as well as traffic management and smart cities. This document, I really like it as well, because it gives you also an opportunity to understand what are actually the challenges which the logistics industry experiences when they deliver stuff to our events. And they also give recommendations how different stakeholders within our industry can actually work together in order to identify solutions. So how can an organizer work together with the convention bureau even, or the venue, in order to make it more efficient and more reliable also. Then the food and food waste. As I mentioned, Jalgers was leading this work stream. They have created a document which really focuses on key principles such as sourcing and purchasing, as well as food management as such. And what I like here about this document is that they have created a checklist, which really all the organizers can download and then see whether they are in line with the sustainability recommendations. Easy to understand. They have even created some explanations of different activities which are typically involved with food waste and catering companies. So if you're an event organizer and if you want to serve food, this could be quite an interesting read for you as well. And don't worry, they are not gigantic documents, except measurement. They are usually really handy, maybe just a couple of slides or a couple of pages. And we try to make them easy to read and understand and really apply in your daily work. So travel and accommodation, ICA's work, they have created a matrix of best practices, and here they also focused on what is my conference, what is my event, is it meant for internal stakeholders or external stakeholders? They are talking about recommendations for SAF, sustainable aviation fuel. They are really also talking about whether how you can prioritize other means of transport if you have the opportunity. So and of course talking about accommodation as well, because this is something which we should not underestimate as well. But travel and accommodation, of course, if you take a typical event, we know that this part contributes to 70 to 90% of all the event emissions. So this is hugely important. But as I said in the beginning, it's of course the travel industry mostly who needs to understand what they can do in order to decarbonize. But our role is really to press them and to offer also help in order to for them to succeed, because it's really hugely important. Then carbon offsetting, as I mentioned, not the easiest, but nonetheless an important one, because we of course understand that nowadays there is maybe no other choice but to use carbon offsetting for the interim targets, if you will. So this is something which we talk about in this document, and I mentioned before we didn't want to give recommendations for specific projects, but what we did was an outline of how you can actually identify the so-called good offsets and differentiate between quality offsets and offsets which are not so not so well. This is something which you might be interested in as well. We ran a survey within our industry, and who uses actually offsets and how they use it, how they communicate about it, and so on. So all this is in this information document as well. And now the last document which I want to mention is the measurement one. I told you data is indeed an issue. Here we have struggled a little bit, but nonetheless we worked already with what we got. Also, maybe a kind request from our side: if you are an event organizer, or if you have data for your own events which you would like to share, very welcome, because we need also data from different countries around the world in order to make it really stable. So very happy to liaise you on this one in order to make this measurement methodology more stable. But just as a information, we really focused on all the levels of events in this methodology, and this is something which we're really proud of, because a lot of methodologies which you see out there are not as complete as this one. So it's really pre-event, it's the event itself as well as the past event, and we've identified 9 areas of the event life cycle where carbon is an issue. So it's of course production and materials, it's freight and logistics, it's food and beverage, it's travel to and from destination, it's also the local transportation, it's accommodation, it's energy, waste, as well as digital component and communication. And this is something quite a lot of methodologies actually forget to consider. So also this document available free of charge. I'm really sorry, it's a large document. It's more than 100 pages, but nonetheless, if you cannot sleep at night, this is something you might read for a better sleep.
But don't print it, read it online.
But don't print it, exactly. Read it on your tablet. So this is the link to the resources. You are very welcome to download all the resources we have. We have much more. We have a set of best practices which we've published already last year as well. And again, it's just a start, but more than 100 best practices already. Very welcome to just scroll down and see what is on this resources page. So in terms of future, we really hope that we could continue the collaboration with the Event Greening Forum. For us, it's really a great opportunity. And we are now, as I mentioned, entering the implementation phase. There will be projects. So I've mentioned the materials library, which was done under the leadership of IFES. This will definitely be expanded. We will include much more information there, and we are also always looking for people who actually would like to contribute. So in case you would like to get involved in this initiative, please just write me a short message, and then we can have a bilateral talk anytime, and just see in what kind of projects we can place you in. Or if you have ideas for projects yourself which you would like to possibly implement, this is also an opportunity for us to speak about. As you know, the initiative is completely free of charge, so you sign up either as a supporter or as a signatory. You have the access to all the information materials free of charge as well. So there are no costs involved. In theory, in practice there are, and this is why, of course, we thank all those financial contributors who are part of this initiative. If you would be interested to do so, you're very welcome as well. We have more than 30 now, and different stages. The platinum level, where we cap the support to 25,000 euros per year. And it goes down all to the green level, which is basically contribute with what you can afford. 1,000 euros, 5,000 euros, it's completely up to all the organizations. And if you sign up for the financial contributions, it's a time frame of 4 years. So this is once again a shout out to and a thank you to all the financial contributors we have. And it's again not only about financial contributions, it's really working together with us as well. So if you see an opportunity to be part of this project, please do let us know. We will be happy. And yeah, I would like also to maybe open the floor, and if you have questions, we'll be happy to answer. It's just.
Oh, great.
So Alice, I think I've got a question.
Should we do the mic, because
Yeah. Thanks. We've got one mic. Yeah. So my question is, and you mentioned it in terms of the biggest carbon contributor is transportation. And I know at this particular event, I've been involved in the green audit and implementation. But I think our carbon footprint on Meetings Africa, I think is 97% related to travel.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Greg, am I right? About 97, 95, something like that.
Upper 80s.
Sorry?
Upper 80s.
Upper 80s. Okay, so I just remember when I was involved with it maybe 6 or 7 years ago, upper 80s. And the reason for that is obviously because people like yourself have been flown in. Of course, not your fault, it's wonderful to have you here. So,
I could have swam, but don't take
you could have walked. Yeah. And it's fantastic, and this is what it's about, because we have an opportunity here to actually deal with problems and come to solutions. So it's wonderful you here. It really is. Nothing like it. I know we've had you virtually before, but now we've got you in person. It's been amazing. And so you know, my thing is that, so here we have this event where upper 80s or 90% of it is actually the carbon footprint is because of transportation. And obviously we do a lot of stand building, and we do a lot in terms of the event and various initiatives which are done. But you know, so at the end of the day, that you know, and obviously the airlines need to play a role, and we need to have direct flights, and that you can only reduce that from 90, you might go to 85. Then there's going to be a huge offsetting required, and that's my concern is it's a wonderful initiative, but I mean, how's it going to work? And you've probably been asked this question before, because I just say to myself, gee, there's a lot of carbon offsetting that's got to be done. And I understand it's net zero, so we need to try and get it low as possible. But how do we, you know, because of the scope 3, how do we deal with it? How's it going to happen? How are we going to get to zero by 2050?
Yeah, Justin, indeed, this is probably the hardest question. But You have, of course, the travel industry, which is organized as well. They last year they have created a similar pledge as well, that they want to become net zero by 2050, including air travel and so on. So they have a very long journey ahead of them. So our job is, as I mentioned, to support them. And really to focus on those things which are our scope 1 and 2, and to minimize this. And that's why we have, of course, things like venues, food and food waste, and logistics, because this is something which we as an industry can really not only identify which we did, but really can do something about it. The travel industry has a huge journey ahead of them, because as you know, development of new airplanes takes time, and until they reach this, I don't know whether, honestly, they will be able to do it by 2050. They have high ambitions, so we support them, of course. Now we are partnering up with GBTA, or they just signed up as a supporter, which is the Global Travel Association, based in Washington DC. They will be leading our travel part from now on, together with ICA, because they have, of course, a huge knowledge, if you will, about everything what's concerning of travel, and this is something which we're really happy to have them on board. But it's really mostly the airline industry which has this headache, and of course, sustainable aviation fuel is one part. But we know that now it's just, if you take it globally, I think not even 1% of all the fuel is actually SAF, and you can have, I think, legally speaking, or technologically speaking, only 50% of maximum of SAF in an airplane today. So it might be that it will be increased in future. I think last year in December there was the first commercial flight which flew on SAF only, from London to New York. But here again, another topic comes into mind is, so we have SAF, but will it then compete with food production? And this is something we don't want to as well. So really quite a lot of topics which are indeed still in discussion here.
I'm the old lady, for those who know me. We've got to meet afterwards. I was asked to speak at Africa Aviation Summit here, which was paid for by the people who are selling offsets, mostly for aviation in Africa. And I said, I can't do that. I'm speaking against, I had to hit a whole panel against everything that I believe in. So I had coffee with Chris Yellen, he's a great friend of mine. And what we must remember, we don't really realize South Africa is way, way ahead on green aviation fuel. There's a tobacco type plant that you can plant anywhere, and it is a biofuel. And with our green hydrogen and a whole lot of other things, South Africa is ahead, which is really great news. So that's what we have to focus on.
That's amazing, and this is something which I think we also need to put into the forefront. You know, like really, and that's also part of the reason why I'm here in South Africa today, because you know, you take all these sustainability initiatives and everything. It's usually considered, okay, so this is a very European thing, you know. But it's not, and when I travel around the world and I see that so many parts of the world are really doing so much in terms of sustainability, and I really would like to you know, after I come back to have some sort of a, maybe not a press release, but at least an article I would like to send out to all of our supporters how much South Africa is actually doing in terms of sustainability. That this could be also taken as an example. And that will be something maybe what you guys and myself can work together on, and really put a larger piece of information together in terms of creating awareness.
I'll take my step. I've got a few questions. Maybe probably a bit ahead of ourselves, but whilst you've clarified carbon neutral and net zero, could you then, I've heard this being thrown around a lot and we're excited about it, might be too early, but about net positive as a concept. And then also just going back to offsetting, I haven't really got into details of this, but what are there any guidelines around where the offset should be or the location of it? Or is it open, you know? So what's the recommendation around that? Do you offset close to where in the locality of the event or anywhere else? If you can just give us some thoughts about that. And then just wondering how often will you be revising this or what's the development stage? Because I imagine there's still a lot of people. And I'm asking this because some things are also quite local for us. You know, and how would we deal with stuff like that? Some of the stuff is nuanced. I know that a lot of the times internationally, water is not considered such a massive factor, but for us locally, water is quite big, and we always add it into our sustainability reporting, and we try to measure the impact as well. But we've seen the pattern that sometimes globally water is not such a. Instead, plastic bottles for water is more the matter, but not the water itself. Just what your thoughts are on those things.
Thanks, Maurice. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Water is a huge topic, and you say it's geographically important, but I think it's important everywhere. We don't have water in our initiative. You're right, because this initiative solely focuses on carbon. This was the reason. Why. But there are organizations who are dealing with the topic of water on events level. So if you would like, I can introduce you, which are really quite active and trying to do whatever they can.
And so, what about wastewater? Because we look at the carbon impact of that.
Yeah. So this is on the municipality level. So we didn't put it into our program unless it's, of course, with venue, and this is something which might be, as a matter of fact, a future project. So on net positive, yes, I see. I mean, I've given a presentation last year with IEEE, which is a supporter, a great supporter of our initiative, and they are actually, like an association for engineers, an amazing organization. And why they joined the initiative was because they organized more than 2,000 events worldwide per year. And it's really the biggest engineers organization worldwide. And they hosted their event in Panama. And Panama apparently is one of the 2 countries worldwide which are net positive, because they have a huge rainforest which they didn't deforestate. They have quite a lot of sustainable tourism in the country, and not so many inhabitants. So this is at least this is what they are saying. So it might be true. I don't know. But yeah. I heard from some stakeholders they want to become net positive pretty soon, actually. So let's see whether it will be possible or not, but it's indeed a topic. And the third question you had is about offsetting and how we can, how often we update it, or what was
And the locality of
the locality, yes. So the locality, indeed. I'll tell you also a nice story. I was having a meeting with Messe Stuttgart, which is the German one of the German fairgrounds operators and organizers, and they have tried to identify offsets for them to use in Germany and in Europe. But they couldn't find one single which they thought they would be able to do to really invest. Not even one. So it's really because we're talking about offsets and additionality also. I mean, that's why most of the offsets are actually in developing countries. I'm being asked a lot this question, but can you recommend something concrete? So whatever I do is, what I do now is simply I refer to UNFCCC themselves. They have a list of offsets they use for their own. I mean, COP is offset too. This is something which I say, look into this. And then use the guideline in order to make your own research for yourself. And sorry, updates on the measurement methodology. Yes, we will be having updates as well. So this is version 1, if you will, 1.0. 1.2 is probably coming out later on this year. So we certainly are already working on it. And it's as I said, we'd like to include more data in order to have proper coefficients in terms of providing a methodology which can really be used, and then as I mentioned, geographical contribution will play a role as well. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Morning, everybody. If I may just make a few comments rather than asking questions. If we look at your first work stream, energy consumption, it is a given that, for example, in South Africa, we have legislation that demands from larger buildings to do audit on an annual basis and actually display the energy consumption of a venue like this per square meter. And so for me, everything starts with measurement. You need to know what you must measure, whether it's willingly so or through compliance, legal compliance. And then my second comment would be on travel and accommodation. So whilst one side of our company, we play in the procurement space and we want to bring the ESG application into procurement, especially scope 2 and 3, but we also play in the sports industry environment. And there's total resistance to go green, so to say, for lack of a better phrase. So if you look at travel and accommodation, if you say that transport is the biggest contributor, then sport events is the biggest contributor within that segment. So I visited a stadium last year in Turkey that's going green. They played in Europe in the Champions League 2 years ago, and they chartered the plane with biofuel. The commitment is there, but you need to know what you must measure before you can continue with the path. Thank you.
Thanks for your comment. Anyone else?
More questions?
I heard a couple of days ago the EU is starting to take people to court for greenwashing. Is that happening? Is it going to be a proper bill, or is it just an idea at the moment?
I think it's just in the beginning of a new bill, possibly. I don't know when exactly it will happen, but EU is really strict about all the sustainability topic. So reporting will be quite an interesting topic as well for us. They even want to make it happen that, for example, if you want to take a loan for your company, you need to comply to green regulations and so on. So we can expect that the legislation around the world will be harsher and harsher for implementing sustainability. That's for sure. Some will be more ahead, the others will be a little bit behind. But I think this is where the journey takes us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. And I think if you can stay up, I'm quite sure that these resources will be available through the AGM, so we'll definitely update as we normally do. I'm going to ask my vice, my right-hand man, John, to just wrap this up for us. I'm officially signing off, and we'll see you during the networking. Thanks.
Thanks, Moresi. And of course, a very, very big thank you to Alex. We've been really working tirelessly to get you here to South Africa, as you know, in person. It's been wonderful having you. As Moresi said, hybrid events are great, but it's, as we discussed last night at dinner, the personal meeting, and that's what our industry is all about, is that personal meetings and connections, because that's when you really actually make that connection. These days, even on screens, most people don't even turn their cameras on, so you're sitting staring at a black screen in front of you, which is really, really not ideal at all. So thank goodness we're able to meet in person. Thank you very much for taking the opportunity and for agreeing to come out to South Africa. I'd like to thank South African Tourism and the South African National Convention Bureau, of course, for sponsoring Alex's trip here to Meetings Africa. So thank you then to them as well. And then I also, of course, want to thank very much Event Synthesis, Angie, and Greg McNellis as well for coming and sponsoring Alex's talk here with us today. So thank you very much. And then, of course, all our other partners and friends and our members, all of you online, all of those who are not members, who also joined us here today. Thank you very, very much. I hope you've seen the benefit of what it is to be a Event Greening Forum member. So we would like to welcome you as new members. And I hope that then we'll be receiving a lot of new application forms because, as Alex just said, the legislation and all of that around event greening and sustainability is just going to get a lot stronger. And you know, South Africa being a global player in the meetings industry and a leading player as such, we've hosted some of the biggest events around the world. I mean, I go back to COP17 in Durban with Justin and I were both involved heavily in. Great news, Cape Town has just been awarded the Earthshot Prize. That is coming to South Africa in November. For those of you who don't know what the Earthshot Prize is, it's an initiative started by Prince William and his Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales. It's a global initiative to help find solutions to the causes of sustainability. It's a 10-year initiative. He calls it the Earthshot Prize, named after the moonshot that John F. Kennedy started to get someone to the moon. So his initiative is aimed at getting us to a more sustainable future. It's the 4th iteration of this prize. There's 5 awards made every year in different categories. I think there's Earth, Water, Atmosphere, and 1 or 2 other ones. Just off the top of my head, I can't remember them all. It's going to be hosted for the first time on the African continent. It's been awarded to Cape Town. So congratulations, Cape Town, on that award. Previously, it was the inaugural was obviously in London, in His Royal Highness's home country. It then went on to Boston in the United States. Last year, it was hosted in Singapore, and now it's coming to Cape Town. So that is a huge initiative. And it's a global one. So South Africa is playing much more in that role, in that space. So, and as we are, as I said, a global player, and a lot of us who are in the eventing industry, the conferencing industry, the sportsing industry, we're dealing a lot with these European countries and clients, and as we want to work with them, we're going to have to start complying with their requirements and legislation, and the Event Greening Forum is here to help you tick all those boxes. So I think that's a good marketing job done for the EG, this one. So in closing, thank you again, everybody, for coming this morning. Before you all disappear, I just want to ask Angie to come and help me up here for a second, please. Bear with us. So we just want to take the opportunity. It was Alex's birthday yesterday. So on behalf of the Event Greening Forum, we want to wish Alex a very happy birthday, and we'd like to invite him up here to the front. And I'd like you all to join us in singing a very happy birthday to Alex. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Alex. Happy birthday to you. Hip hip. Hip hip. Hip hip. And Alex, as we say in South Africa, nog een hip. Hooray! Thank you very much, Alex. Happy birthday. Will you do the honors to cut the first?
Well, thank you so much. It's really a surprise. John, you should have become an opera singer.
And then also everybody, we're going to have a piece of cake here. And then of course there's some snacks and teas and coffees at the back as well. So please join us for a good networking session. Thank you very much. And that is the end. It's a wrap.
Thank you so much.
Another cake.